We're back for part 2 of the NeonSign service. We've talked about the entitled and the panicked. Now we're moving on to the I'm better than you. This person makes us crazy. This person is dismissive of us. They have this don't you know who I am attitude. They are super important and completely full of themselves. So what it does in us is it triggers shame, make us feel intimidated or defensive, which then turns to anger for us because we don't like that shameful feeling or vulnerable feeling, especially if we don't understand the importance of what we do. I have a whole theory about name tag shame, that there are people all over the planet that believe if you wear a name after the age of 21, 22, then you've made terrible life choices. Well, the reality is in our industry, most of us are wearing tags as senior vice presidents and presidents. Because if I want you to wear your name tag, I need to wear my name tag. And there's no shame in a name tag, right? We know that in hospitality. Outside of hospitality, people don't really know that. And if we've fallen into hospitality rather than trained for it and been educated for it, we probably don't feel great about what we do. Because we don't feel great about what we do, this person really pushes all those buttons for us. So what we really need to make sure is that we understand the importance of what we do, that our employees understand the importance of what we do so that these buttons are not pushed. And especially when service recovery situations happen, right? We all already feel bad of ourselves, then we make a mistake. And this person is going to be the one that says, "You're so stupid, you can't even get my pancakes right." That again makes us feel shame. Now, feeling these things leads to revenge and punishing the guest, which does not lead us to our end goal. So I encourage you instead to remember that what we do is really important. And we'll be getting into that in our next module. That, what we do is a service to humanity. And if we buy that, then this "don't you know who I am" is so much easier to just let go of. This person's underlying need, they need to be reinforced. You're right. You're so important. You are so great, right? Certainly don't teach this person a lesson. They're the ones that will make sure that you get fired. Cut to the chase guy. This is also the business traveler that we've talked about earlier. Let's just get moving. They want efficiency, not friendliness. They want just get it done. Now, our job is to be friendly and efficient in a situation like this. Don't let it trigger your hurt feelings and defensiveness. Don't get short and clipped. You're still nice. You're still taking care of business. You're just doing it in a quicker way. This person's underlying need is respect, warmth, and efficiency while showing respect for my busy life. I understand how busy you are. Let me take care of this right now, right? And using the name and smiling and making them feel cared for. This one drives me crazy, the clueless. This is the person that doesn't know anything. And yet, they are a well-traveled person, so obviously they know. They're either playing stupid or they're just not be able to retain information. We have to be careful making the assumption that they're stupid or unable to retain information, right? This one is so hard for me. They don't know anything about our business. They don't have any common sense, right? They're the ones that don't realize that at a front desk, you're going to check that my credit card isn't going to be declined. So you're going to put a hold on my incidental fee for the day, right? Their cluelessness irritates us because they don't seem to know what everybody else on the planet knows. So here we have to make a choice. They need to be treated with kindness and patience. And they're begging us not to make them look stupid. They probably have quite a chip on their shoulder, so they need our love and attention. The imprisoned are super fun. They're victims. They complain about everything. Nothing works out for them. They're so miserable, poor them. They trigger frustration. These are the people where things like, so glad I don't have this person's life. We have to be careful that the self-talk doesn't turn to the negative with the, oh my God, if we are so terrible, why do you keep coming? We have to be careful with that. We also have to be careful that we're not just becoming cold, right? Okay, I'm just going to shut down because you clearly have a luxury lifestyle, right? I'm judging them in their heads. I'm frustrated by being imprisoned. Instead, their need is attention. They need someone to listen. They need you to care. So we're going to give them that care. We're going to pay the attention to them. And we're going to help them make something work out for them. And it's going to be beautiful. In all of these personalities, in all of these characters, we have to remember that being right is the booby prize. It doesn't matter if you're right. Nobody cares if you're right. Our need to be right, that I'm right-ish, that I've talked about already, is our ego. It comes from a place of ego. Yeah, maybe people should know better. It's not our job to teach them. Unless, of course, being right involves safety and security and that sort of thing. In which case, you must make sure people understand the safe, secure things that they should be doing. Otherwise, we don't need to point out why we're right. It's not your job to teach people who've made it to middle age how to behave. They've made it to middle age, they've made it to a certain place. It's not our job to teach them. I've actually had this happen to me. A guest handed him $1 and told him to get an education. I've actually had this happen to me when I was a server. And I said, I know my bachelor's degree is not coming in handy, isn't it? Rather than becoming angry. I also am able to joke, humor as my weapon of choice. And so I'm able to joke about things like, you know what, my dad says that too, right? Because again, it's not personal. You're not there to tell them, I have a master's degree. We can't fix people, right? It's our job to provide service to them, to help them enjoy their stay with us for whatever time they're with us. Which brings us to the look for the love. There's got to be something about this person that is positive. We have to get in the habit of giving people the benefit of the doubt. The customer isn't always right, but it really doesn't matter. At some point, we break up with some customers. At least in the beginning, we don't have enough power to do that. Our bosses or bosses' boss do, but we don't. It doesn't matter if they're right or not. Let's just find something about them that is likable and move on. Breathe and stretch. We've talked about this already. Hopefully you've continued to practice mindfulness. The key is we have to take care of ourselves. Relieving stress, belly breathing, that's part of the mindfulness, those deep breaths. Walking away for a little bit, doing the renewal during work, after work, before work, of us running home rather than driving, so that we can get ourselves in a good headspace and that we don't struggle with emotional labor. Now here is absolutely one of my favorite parts of the book, and it is how we say no. Sometimes we have to say no. Guests are going to ask us to do illegal things. We have to say no to that. When we say no, We are accustomed to offering alternatives. I don't have this available, but I do have this available. What Holly teaches us is that there are two wings of no. There's our statement of caring, no, and then the alternatives we have available. So the wings of no, if we stimulate a bird flying, my left arm is, I'm sure that's really frustrating for you that we no longer accept pets. We're unable to accept pets because if you will allow me the opportunity, I will call the Westin to confirm that they're still accepting pets and they have availability, right? So it's, I know this is disappointing. No, here's what I can do. I can't imagine how upsetting this is. I'd love to find a way to help. So wing one is caring. I wish I could accommodate your request. I know we've been able to do so in the past. And in this case, I am unable to. Notice that I'm not using but. And we will talk about that in the next module. Wing 2, here's what I can do. There is a doggy daycare just down the street, right? I think this example comes from the book. I apologize for the inconvenience, or I'm sorry you didn't see the sign. There is no parking along the red line in front of a fire hydrant. It will only take a moment to loop around. Thank you for your cooperation. That one's legal, right? There's no parking in front of a fire hydrant, and that should be a given. It's clearly not always a given, and sometimes people are in a terrible hurry, or they might be important being in quotes. It is inconvenient. I'm sorry you didn't see this. So the wings of no are something that I encourage you to use regularly. When we apologize, the key to apologies is we absolutely have to care. Forgive people their own behavior, especially if they're being completely inappropriate. Humble yourself to serve. I call this having a service heart. When people feel understood and valued, fixing the problem is so much easier, but they have to feel understood and valued. Every service organization has a recovery acronym. Here are a few. But listen is always part of it. Empathy needs to be part of it. Apologies. Apologies have to be part of it. When you apologize for something, you're not saying, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I served you that terrible food. Nobody likes it, right? You're not agreeing with them. You're apologizing for the situation or for the experience that they've had. Now, Holly says to keep dancing when we get busy and get in a rhythm. You know, when I was in food and beverage, when we were super busy was when we were at our best. Certainly, when you're new and you're super busy, it can be overwhelming. Once you figure out how that busy is supposed to go, find your rhythm and stay in it. That rhythm is what really keeps us on top of our game. And realizing that this guest is just as important as the last 25, even though they're the last one of the evening. We've already said that service is performance. The better we hone our acting skills, the better we'll perform in our job. We have a whole module on that coming up. And again, when you are in the guest view, you are on stage. Holly recommends we bring our sense of humor to work. I absolutely agree with this. I like to call this finding the funny. Every horrible situation has something funny about it. She says to keep a humor journal. I worry about that because we have a tendency in a groups of service providers to begin to mock our guests and our customers. And we have to be very careful with that because then we put them in categories and we have a hard time serving them. So if you're going to keep a humor journal, that's fine, We have to keep it focused on things that don't cause us to stereotype our guests. Laugh at situations, not the people. It can certainly help us relieve tension. People ask some really dumb things, right? Now, if they're not from this country, maybe they don't know that all government offices are closed on Christmas. So, if they're not from here, we tend to give them a little bit more benefit of the doubt. And rather than making fun of them, assume, you know what, maybe where they live, government facilities like post office are open on Christmas. How long does it take to eat brunch? That's hilarious, right? I don't know how long it's going to take you to eat brunch. Is it an all-you-can-eat brunch? Are you going with family and friends, right? Those are silly questions. Rather than making fun of them, you can say instead, well, it depends. Are you going to meet people there? Are you going to enjoy the bottomless mimosas, right? So that we can say, oh, give yourself a couple of hours. Life teaches us what is and isn't appropriate. So we have to be really careful that we give people the benefit of the doubt that whatever they've asked us is their life learning, right? They don't know better. And we have to be careful that all of this doesn't turn into complaining. This is my favorite bonus sign, and I trained this until I was blue in the face. Some people really struggle with this. You're not going to. So, when I worked with luxury hotel properties, we would do upsell training for reservations. And our reservations agents were not our customer base, right? Our customer base in luxury hotels does not even blink at a $500 a night room cost. In luxury, that's practically free. So when I say, okay, we're going to offer them a variety of what's available, rather than going just for the cheap room, well, I wouldn't pay $1,500 a night. No, I wouldn't either. But it's not for me and it's not for you. That you're not going is really important. No little pieces of paper. She talks about from a concierge perspective, but to be honest, in general, that's good for all of us. Keep all of your notes in the same book or locations that you can find them. Don't make assumptions. We do make assumptions about people all the time. Our job should be to give people the benefit of the doubt. And finally, double check everything and follow up, follow up, follow up. Those are her bonus signs. I love that this is the business we're in. We're in the thank you very much business. We're in the business of touching people's experiences. People come to us to spend life moments. How dare we squander that? So I encourage you to take a lot of Holly's teaching to share them with people, to take them to work with you. Keep this book forever. More importantly, I hope that one day you get to say, this book changed how I interact with guests.